All right, welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep into feudal Japan today.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, I think so too.
Lots of swords.
Yeah, definitely lots of swords. But we're really looking at, this change from the Heian period to the rise of the shogunate.
Right.
We've got this amazing source document here, and it's going to kind of help us map out how that happened.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating transition. And, I think it has a lot of parallels to what was going on in, medieval Europe at the same
Oh,
time.
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm curious to hear more about that.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about, who has the power and how that power is wielded.
Right.
And this source document really highlights that shift.
Okay, so this source document, it talks about the Genpei War as like this huge turning point.
Absolutely.
It was a clash between two powerful clans, the Taira and the Minamoto.
Yeah, they were like the two big dogs on the block at the
Love
time.
with it.
Exactly. And they went head to head for control.
So, like, what was at stake here? Was it just about territory, or is there more to it?
I mean, territory was definitely part of it. They wanted land, resources, all that jazz. But it was also about influence, about who got to call the shots in Japan.
Right, who got to be top dog?
Exactly. And for the people living during that time, I mean, can you imagine? This war would have completely upended their lives.
Yeah, it must have been chaotic.
Absolutely. It was a brutal, bloody conflict, and its impact was felt for generations.
Right, because ultimately, the Minamoto clan won, led by Minamoto Yoritomo.
Right, Yoritomo, he's the guy, he's the one who becomes the first shogun.
Okay, so this title, Shogun, what did that even mean back then?
It meant you were the big boss.
Okay, but like, in practical terms, what did that look like?
Basically, Yoritomo became the de facto ruler of Japan.
De facto. So not officially, but in reality.
Exactly. You still had the emperor, but the emperor was more of a figurehead at that point.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture. So the shogun had the real power.
Yes. He controlled the military, he made the big decisions, he basically ran the show.
Wow, that's a pretty significant power shift.
Yeah.
And our source document also mentions this new social structure that emerged, like a feudal system,
Yeah, it's like a pyramid with the shogun at the very top.
and below him.
You had the daimyo. They were like powerful regional lords, each controlling their own territory and armies.
Oh, so kind of like mini shoguns?
In a way, yeah. They answered to the shogun, but they had a lot of power within their own domains.
And then below the daimyo.
You had the samurai, of course.
Right, the warriors.
Yeah, the samurai were the muscle of this whole system. They were fiercely loyal to their daimyo and lived by a strict code of honor, Bushido.
Bushido, that's the samurai code, right? I know it's about honor and loyalty, but what else did it involve?
It was a whole way of life. It emphasized discipline, self-sacrifice, swordsmanship, and even etiquette.
Wow, so it wasn't just about fighting.
No, it was about being a warrior in every aspect of your life.
That sounds intense.
Yeah.
And what about the samurai who didn't have a master? The Ronin.
Ugh, the Ronin. They were a bit of a wild card. They were samurai who had either lost their master or left their service.
So basically, masterless samurai roaming around.
Yeah, pretty much. They had to find their own way, often working as mercenaries or bodyguards.
And it sounds pretty dangerous.
It was. They lived on the edge of society, and they could be a bit unpredictable.
So we've talked about the shogun, the daimyo, the samurai, and the ronin. But what about the rest of the people in feudal Japan? The farmers, artisans, merchants?
Right. They were the foundation of this whole system. The farmers grew the food, the artisans made the goods, and the merchants traded them.
But they didn't have much power, did they?
No, not really. They were bound to their lords and had to pay taxes and provide services.
It sounds like social mobility was pretty limited.
It was. If you were born a farmer, you were likely to stay a farmer. And then there were the eta.
The Ika?
Yeah, they were considered outcasts. They did jobs that were considered unclean, like handling dead animals or executing criminals.
Wow, so a pretty rigid system.
Very rigid. Your social standing determined your entire life.
This feudal system, it seems like it had the potential for a lot of tension and conflict.
It definitely did. You had all these different groups vying for power and resources.
So how did they keep things from completely falling apart?
Well, there was a lot of emphasis on maintaining order. They had strict laws, harsh punishments, and a strong sense of tradition.
So basically a combination of force and social pressure.
Exactly. They kept things relatively stable, but there were definitely rebellions and uprisings.
It's fascinating to think about all the individual stories within this system, the lives that were shaped by these social structures.
Absolutely. It's a complex and often brutal period of history, but it's also incredibly rich and full of human drama.
It makes you wonder, right? How did this strict social structure influence Japanese art and literature?
Oh, I think it had a profound impact. It shaped their aesthetics, their values, their entire worldview.
That's something I'd love to explore further. And how about the impact on philosophy?
Well, think about it. Concepts like loyalty, honor, and duty were so central to feudal Japan.
Right, they were the core of Bushido.
Exactly. And those ideas resonated deeply within Japanese society. They found their way into their philosophy, their religion, their art.
It's amazing how these echoes of feudalism can still be felt in modern Japan.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the lasting impact of this period in history.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to feudal Japan. The Genpei War, the rise of the shogunate, the intricate web of power dynamics. It's all so fascinating.
It is, and it's a reminder that history is never just about dates and names.
It's about people.
Yes, it's about people, their struggles, their triumphs, their stories.
I think that's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into feudal Japan.
It was my pleasure.
And for our listeners, keep exploring. There's so much more to discover about this amazing period in history. Thanks for listening.
See ya.